to the fifth episode of Rue Talks. It is a very exciting morning today. We're exploring the world of newspapers with two amazing guests. Mr. R. Krishnamurthy, Senior Assistant Editor of The Hindu, who crafts the stories we read, and Mr. Jagadesh Kumar, Head of Sales and Distribution for Coimbatore, ensures that they reach readers on time. Stay tuned for insights, stories, and of course, some fun. We welcome the both of you. To start off, how would you say your experience was at our Literary Fest? Are there any insights that you would like to share?
This is one of the very great initiatives taken up by Rook School. And thanks to the opportunity provided to us to be a part of it. In fact, as one of the legacy newspapers with 146 years old, and Hindu has been a part of Literary Festival all along, has been promoting a Literary Festival. So we are immediately found happiness and then alignment in joining hands with the school for the Literary Festival. Great.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, being with the students, they are the best part of the society, and interacting with them, we get new insights from them, and it's quite enjoyable being with the students.
That's great to hear. So starting with you, Mr. Krishnamurthy, we wondered how a newspaper is created. So as a senior assistant editor, could you walk us through a day in your life?
It's every day. As a journalist, you need to generate content every day. We in edition centers, we have this beat system where we demarcate our areas of activities. So we have, let us say in Coimbatore, we have a team here. We have a chief reporter. We have 4 reporters. We have separate reporters for Metropolis and then sports. And then we have reporters for districts as well. Nilgiris, Coimbatore edition covers Nilgiris, Tirupur, Salem and Erode as well. So we have got reporters in the districts. We have got photographers in the districts. So we concentrate on our geographical district reporters. They take care of their geographical areas. And in city, we demarcate our areas of activities. I look after specifically transport, education. And apart from that, I look after happenings in Tirupur also. So a typical day in my life will be every morning we check out. We check out with our sources what's new in that area happening. And if there is anything, we pursue that, and then we get to know what is new about what's happening, and then we highlight that. And along with that, we get inputs about people associated with that event. We have talked to them also, and then so that we give a comprehensive picture of what we are working on.
That's great to hear. There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. Exactly. So, sir, you do sales and distribution. So I think we would like to hear a day in your life.
Basically, the person who works for the newspaper organization, especially in the distribution system, has to necessarily work with the end final mile connectivity people. And newspapers are connected with final mile distributors who are mostly from the unorganized sector. So that my team, they start work early in the morning by around 4 o'clock. So our morning routine starts by around 4 o'clock to ensure whether the product of newspapers reached all the destinations rightfully. Is there any problem in reaching the centers? If there is any problem, we have to do a course corrective steps for ensuring the product is reached to the right set of people in the agents. And subsequently, we'll start meeting readers on a day-to-day basis for 2 things. One is for ensuring the delivery system, because it reaches to a wide range of set of people in a different hands, through the different hands. So there is every possibility that in certain areas we would have had some service issues, because people buying a newspaper want to have the newspaper by a particular time of the convenient of their morning reading. If it is disturbed, their daily routine starts disturbs. So our team ensures that they interact with the final mile connectivity people, and they interact with readers and try to encourage more number of young readers to join reading the newspapers on a daily basis. That's our, and we also have meet with other institutional segments to ensure the product reaches to the right audience. And basically, I would say that a person working in a distribution system also takes care of the distribution as well as work on habit formation activities.
That's
So
right.
that's one way to do that.
It shapes you as a
Yeah.
person. Mr. Krishnamurthy, as a journalist, crafting compelling statements and articles require a deep understanding and skill. So, what first sparked your passion for journalism?
So before entering into journalism, I was a teacher. I was a school teacher while studying, while in my college, and as a teacher also. I kept reading newspaper. I used to devote at least some 1 hour or 2 hours for newspapers every day. And while in school, I used to encourage students also to read newspapers. We used to have these news reading sessions in the morning in the assembly, and I used to curate the news for them, for the local news, the state news, the national news, international news. So very important, concisely. I used to curate and ask them to prepare students to read the news in the mornings. So gradually, the inclination to report about the news developed, and when there was an opportunity, I grabbed it.
Slow step by step.
Yeah, exactly.
As a scholar of English literature, do you think literature continues to hold relevance in today's world? Or do you think newspapers and media have taken over?
It's interdependent. I think one cannot live without the other, right? It has to both have to go together, because it's possible that the language changes over decades. The diction, the presentation, maybe that changes, but the language remains, right? The language is a base for journalism. Both have to go together.
Language of art. You've transitioned from being a school teacher, as you had mentioned, to a journalist. Did you experience any change in your perspective on how you report incidents or anything that happens?
Yeah, because after getting into journalism, my main area was of reporting was education, about school education, about college education. Having worked in a school, I could observe from close quarters the dynamics of the activities in school, the role of a principal, the role of a teacher, the role of the curriculum, how it's perceived by students, how it is looked at by teachers, and that interplay of the dynamics. So when you get to know that, it's easier to report about education. It is related. It helped me a lot. Exactly.
You also talk a lot on pollution, policies for law, etc. So, do you think that played a role in your interest for journalism as well?
Yeah. So once you get into journalism, what happens is you need to know about many things. You cannot confine your areas of interest to specific beats. So when you get the opportunity to learn about many things, it's so possible that you also develop interest towards certain areas. And this is a perennial problem. Pollution is a perennial problem which needs to be highlighted. How much our is highlighted, the problem remains, and the solution also is elusive in many cases. So it evokes your curiosity, it retains your interest in that, it retains your responsibility towards that, and you continue to do that.
That's awesome. Now to Mr. Jagadish. Once the newspapers are created, there's a lot that goes into how they're distributed across our city. So could you take us through some part of that method?
See, newspaper distribution, as I already told you, that's a very, very important part of reaching this particular product. Our journalists, our entire production team can work together, and then if the product is not reached the end consumers rightfully, that becomes a waste paper. So we take most important thing like educating the final mile, because the final mile is not as educated as we are as a reader. So we have to also understand newspaper is the most affordable product that we have been distributing it. Distributing a newspaper for 361 days is not an easy task. That too with a kind of a ground system what we have. But still, India plays a very, very important role in reaching the millions of customers through vendors and delivery boys. So, and the entire team of distribution works very closely with the end final mile people. And I found a lot of interesting stories from them also. I'm sure you would have heard our former president, APJ Abdul Kalam, was also a newspaper delivery boy during his early age. So there is this time people used to come to newspaper distribution for ensuring the livelihood is met, at least a portion. So that during the studies, during the schooling, there are a lot of school boys still come for a very partial amount. So our job is to ensure their livelihood is maintained properly, their social security is ensured, and encourage them to reach to the new consumers. And subsequently, we also need to ensure the support system of their education through agencies, through donors, through Rotary clubs. Those are the other areas of interest that we normally do that, so that their interest level in reaching the products is also goes up. And as you all know that reading is not a natural choice of human being. People, those who are habituated, will do that. But identifying a new consumer requires a lot of efforts. People immediately will not agree because that requires a focus. So we need to encourage them. So we do that particular part, and that creates a lot of satisfaction for us because we are promoting a product which is actually provides knowledge to the society. So that's the kind of happiness that we derive on whenever we go and meet readers. Whenever a reader says that I'm reading your product, I'm so happy about it, and your service is so good. So that's the kind of satisfaction we get it from the day-to-day life.
That's awesome. You were talking about how you help in educating the children of today. So I think you had done a newspaper and education initiative. So could you take us through that?
Basically, newspapers are habitual products. People, those who are habituated to a thing at the early age, can retain that particular habit for a longer time. And what best time rather than creating a habit is in the schools. So in my 25 years, last 15 years, we have created a concept of reaching the product to the school children for creating habits. How a newspaper habits are created? Newspaper product reading is created either by a parent or through a teacher. And we strongly felt that if can be done through peer group reading, why not it can? So it also encourages them to create a lot of curiosity questions, ensure that they read it along, so that the interest level goes up. So we created a product which is highly curated for children's, which is relevant only for school children's and restricted in the school areas. So I was a part of that particular initiative, and we also encourage more schools to take away this kind of initiatives for their classes beyond their academics. So that requires a lot of effort. That requires a coordination with the school to try to impress upon them why they need to do that and what the students are going to get benefit out of it beyond their academics. So such a kind of initiative we have started after 15 years, and it's been going very strong. And we are very happy about it in reaching that newspapers habit formation in the schools.
It really helps when we have peers reading with us and you're more focused as well. So having worked across many branches of the Hindu in Trichy, Madurai, how has the regional diversity in operations impacted your skills, and has there been any difference in?
Absolutely, yeah, correct. I started my journey with the newspaper at Madurai, which is incidentally my place of native place also.
We started off together in
Yeah, we were at Madurai. Right? For a person who worked in a Tier 2 city, going to a Tier 1 city like Bangalore was a really awesome experience for me because it's a metropolitan city with multicultural thought process and people's rush for their career. That bigger cities has that particular thing, right? Where people keep rushing, early morning rush. So they have very limited time devote for reading and all. So encouraging them in the rightful way. And I had a very huge experience of learning at Bangalore, how I can able to connect with different set of societies of people. Because Bangalore is a highly a metropolitan kind of city, and that's actually helped me a lot.
That's good. Mr. Krishnamurthy, would you like to add something to this as well?
Yeah, see now regional diversities are really there because southern states don't find it's not industrialized. Okay, so I find that the development in terms of infrastructure or any public utility, it's not as much as in other places. So even central district is more agriculture oriented, though there are industries agriculture oriented. And the western part is quite industrialized. So we have that different kind of exposure. It's different in different places, but every place it helps us having a broad perspective. Having that perspective of Madurai and Trichy, for instance, it also helps me understand better the happenings in Coimbatore.
That's wonderful. So, in your opinion, what role does a physical newspaper play in today's digital age?
Frankly speaking, physical newspapers helps to have a habit formation at the early stage, easy, because people can easily focused. Whereas digital, there is a chances of getting distracted is much higher. But having said that, we have to adapt to the new technology. We have to adapt to the new age lifestyle also.
We're going to keep growing.
Right. So now, as a newspaper, we have our own presence in online. We have our own presence in digital. We have e-paper in mobile apps, and we have video formats, podcast, all those kind of stuff are then a part of these newspapers generally. But still, having said that, I would say that India as a country still a lot of scope for reaching into a print product. Reason being is a kind of a population what size we have, the kind of literacy rate what we have, and still a huge population is not actually reading anything, be it the print or digital. Digital penetration is growing up. At the same time, there is still a scope for reaching a print product widely in India. So in that case, I would say that India can still depend, because largely it's depend on, because as I already told you, India has a registered newspaper of 1.46 lakhs. Maybe not many of them may not be active, but still a huge number of regional and as well as English dailies have a huge customer base across India. So it has a huge role to play in shaping up of the future also.
Yeah, I have little to add to that. This physical newspapers, the content is curated by experts. Now there's information explosion, and the task is to find out what is really required, what is really relevant to the section of readers that we aim to reach out to. So newspapers, the content which is required for that particular set of readers, it is carefully curated. So unlike in the case of digital reading, where it's possible that you get distracted while navigating from one section to another, you have physical newspaper. It's very easy to use, and you have everything at one go. At one spot you have everything. So you don't have to really search for different news items, different sections. It's easy. You have everything in your hand. It's done by experts. It's not that easy because it's quite often even e-paper for that matter, when you navigate from one page to flip, it's flipping newspaper physically is very easy compared to because you don't have that risk of distraction in the physical newspaper.
Could it be that there could also be fake news on online media, etc., which is not there on physical newspapers?
Exactly. In physical newspaper, it's filtered at various levels for us. We check with multiple sources, and then we only have to ensuring that we get the views of very many stakeholders in order to get the content into the paper. Digital, it's possible for anybody to upload anything. It's more reliable, I would say. Physical newspapers, it's more reliable. That I can say.
So we talked about the different sections in a newspaper in the top-down step. So what would you say is your favorite section of the newspaper, or the one that you enjoy editing or reading the most?
Yeah. It's difficult to say that because we cannot make our choices about about reporting or about reading.
No, just what you enjoy reading.
Okay. I enjoy sports. Yeah.
Actually, for me also sports, because that's how I think I have seen many people, they turn around the page from the front page, go to the back, and then come to the regional pages. That's how people used to read the newspaper. And one more column, Sudoku. Sudoku used to be one of my favorite pastime while I take the breakfast. So that's a part of it.
Yeah, I think as a child, I also went to the last page first before I did anything else. One last question. If Hindu was to write a headline about your life, what would it say?
Okay, it's a very interesting, right?
They were to write a headline about our life. It will be sustaining dedication.
I would say the aspiring human being.
That's wonderful. I'm sure you both are as amazing as we think you are. Thank you for being here, and we really hope to get more into newspapers.
Thank you for the opportunity. And when Jagadish was mentioning 361 days, you would have wondered why, what about the other 4
I mean, I was going to.
Yeah, so
At least they need to also have a holiday, right? Four state holidays. People can also stay back.
for
along
4
the family.
days, newspapers are not printed.
That's
there's
the
only
custom.
4 days.
It now changed. Actually, the rule has changed, but we still follow a based rule that at least we need to give. There are newspapers are given 365 days also, but still, we strongly believe that that community also requires a break in the whole of the year.
That's a really interesting fact to hear that we probably wouldn't know.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Pasha, great.
Thank
I
you.
think I really liked your style of questioning. All the very best for your
Very
future.
insightful. Yeah.
Good day.
Thank you.